Hey guys, we're back. It's been a while.
Been a long time.
So,
new house.
Yeah, we got a new house. We're recording somewhere new. We'll see where
got
the
fireplace behind us.
We need to get it lit though to get that like backwards light.
Yeah, at some point.
Anyways, we're here. We're here for our new review series for the year called Year of the Dead.
I'm pretty sure I brought this up in a previous thing.
I believe so, but I am not going back to find that clip.
I don't remember exactly which. It was probably for the one of the
probably Year of the Full Moon.
Year of the Full Moon. It was one of those. It was probably in a really bad movie for all I know.
Not even zombie.
I brought up how, and I think that was like the brainstorm when I'm like, that would be a good idea. Years later, here we are.
Here we are. So, in like years past, we did a review series where like Year of the Full Moon, Year of the Empire together. I've done some review series on my own, but those aren't as fun.
He doesn't have a life.
Exactly. And actually now I'm starting to get a life, so I don't have time to do that stuff on my own. But
and honestly, for the like zombie movies were my just overall what got me into horror movies. I said that previously, but they are like before slasher movies. It was zombie movies. I was really super into zombie movies in like middle school, especially. Mm-hmm. Then again, in high school, we started getting more into slasher, but I still have a soft spot for all these, and I mean pages of movies we have on the docket. Double-sided. Like, I'm a little overwhelmed.
Single-spaced. Comic Sans font.
Like,
so anyways.
A college professor would accept this as a paper. There's so many names in here. For
Year of the Dead, even though it's called Year of the Dead, and normally we do like a whole year worth of reviews, there's too much for us to do this all in 1 year, and we don't have the time for that. This might be like, if you all these movies on here, it would be years, like Decade of the Dead. Yeah, Decade of the Dead is the overarching series. But no, this would be like Year of the Dead Season 1, and we'll get to why it would just be, we're just kind of focusing on the core movies in the Dead series. So, when we say of the dead, we're not talking about any movie that involves a zombie, but in a way, looking at this list, we almost are. It is based off of Romero's Dead series.
And you may think, oh, there's only a few of those movies.
Which there is.
Which there is, and then at the same time, there is not. There's not. It's actually pretty crazy.
It's insane.
So
it all started with Night of the Living Dead. That was Romero's big movie that like got him into like the mainstream.
Such a good movie.
And it is the movie that invented zombies as we know it today. Before then, it used to just be like voodoo zombies and witchcraft and magic, and now it is
undead, like reanimated corpse, like somebody got bit, died, came back. Type,
Every zombie movie is like that now. So Romero went on to make his own movie, but there was like there was a big like disagreement on the movie, where the writer of the movie wanted to go in one direction. Romero, the director, wanted to go in another direction. So they kind of made it so Romero got Of the Dead was what his movies would be. And then John A. Russo got Of the Living Dead. That's an important distinction to start off. So from there, Romero went on and made...
That's not the only time it just branches off. That's
the first branch. The first branch leads to Romero making 5 sequels, so 6 movies in total. Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Land of the Dead, Diary of the Dead, and Survival of the Dead. Those are 6 movies that we're going to review this year.
And I've watched all of those multiple times, except for Diary maybe twice. I've seen it once, but maybe twice. Survival once.
I've definitely seen Diary twice, but Survival I really do think
I've only seen Survival once. And I know Survival kind of ties into Diary. Mm-hmm. Diary was we'll get into it when we review the movie, but it was an interesting move away from what he was doing previously. So, is it the best? No, but it's a good one.
Yeah, and the movies we're eventually going to review will put kind of this into perspective of what's a good zombie movie and what's a bad zombie movie. So, as I mentioned before, the Dead series then went on with Return of the Living Dead. So John A. Russo wrote a novel that was a continuation of Night of the Living Dead. That was then made by Dan O'Bannon into a movie series that kind of doesn't really involve the book at all, but it uses the book as a launching point.
He used the name, but then
pretty much to create the Return of the Living Dead series, which is not as popular, but one of my favorite.
Like that was like I really love Romero's, but the Living Dead series. Mm. I mean, they got really stupid, but they were never like bad. If they were bad, they were bad in a fun way. So, but the first few were so good. Well, arguably one of my favorite zombie movies is the first Return of the Living Dead.
I put Return of the Living Dead in my top 5 zombie movies of all time, along with I enjoy more than some of Romero's movies. Actually, probably the majority of his.
Yeah, I would say it's up there with like Dawn of the Dead and
there's a lot of things invented in that movie that became zombie staples going forward, and we'll talk about that when we review the movie.
And that was kind of the first zombie movie to be a comedic.
Yeah.
And then you can see how that's popped up in Shaun of the Dead and stuff like that.
Huge moving forward in the zombie genre, just going as the comedy angle. So, Return of the Living Dead had Return of the Living Dead Part 2, Return of the Living Dead 3, Return of the Living Dead Necropolis, and Return of the Living Dead Rave to the Grave. They're all... As the sequels go on, they're not as good.
That's like most movies. As it goes on, you keep milking it. It goes down. Mm-hmm. But like I said, they're all fun. I've had fun watching them. I've probably only seen like Rave to the Grave maybe once or twice.
Probably Rave once. I've seen Necropolis multiple times, and the only I'll talk more about this when we get to that movie. The only reason I've seen it a lot is it was when I was younger. I came home from school, and I would have been in elementary school, and I turned on Sci-Fi Channel. Well, I turned on the TV, and Sci-Fi Channel was on, and this zombie movie where, like, people are getting ripped apart. Like, it was, like, right into the middle of an intense scene was going on. I made it about 5 minutes before I was like, I can't do this, and I turned it off. For, like, a decade, I was trying to find what movie did I watch, and I thought it was, like, a Romero movie. I thought it was a big-time one, because in my mind, it was so cool.
We were just like, and then we were going through The Living Dead, and then Sean was just like, wait.
Return of the Living Dead Necropolis, the fourth one, is the movie that got me into zombie movies.
That's a really fun movie.
Ugh. But I enjoy it, and we will be reviewing all 5 of those movies this year as well. So that'll bring us up to, counting this review, 12 reviews, 1 a month for all of 2025.
And we could always do supplemental ones in the future, kind of like we're doing with the full moon and stuff.
Mm-hmm. So
I mean, we're never gonna run out because it just keeps going.
Yeah, we're going to be doing this for a while. If you guys want us to continue, or
not that anybody watches.
Yeah, not that anyone watches these. So if we do get good views for these, we might also try to like pick up how many we're doing. And like Shane said, we're probably going to add in some supplemental ones because
I love zombie movies.
We really want to do Shaun of the Dead. I love one of our favorite movies.
I mean, if there's like a 13th month, I'd probably put Shaun of the Dead in there.
So we're definitely going to be tackling some of that stuff.
Zeitgeist-wise, it's probably in the mainstream more than like Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, honestly,
I would say almost any Romero, and maybe the only one that's close to a Romero would be the remake of Dawn of the Dead. Because you got to kind of
like the current.
You're usually like currently you got to be really like kind of slanting towards horror movies just to kind of.
Also, that remake is Shaun of the Dead's almost 20 years old, and Dawn of the Dead remake is 20 years old.
Phenomenal movie.
Cool. So all of that leads us to the other thing that kind of makes this whole review series a little go out of hand. So we already talked about Night of the Living Dead and all of Romero's Dead series. We talked about Return of the Living Dead, but another one of the big series that spun off of this is called Zombie. So it's an Italian series, but really it kind of involves movies from all around the world. So what happened was Dawn of the Dead was re-edited and released in Italy. Do you know what
the edits, did it add anything or like
I think there was some stuff that was added, however they were deleted scenes, so they didn't film anything new.
I think we did watch
we've seen the Italian cut. And not only that, one of the big additions is they
added some stuff that were like, that's Italian. Because there's like I don't even know how to describe it.
Like some of the editing was very Italian.
Yeah, and like how they do stuff, if you watch a few Italian movies that are like maybe not good Italian movies, but like zombie level, you'll be like, oh, this is Italian. I could watch one now and be like, this was
And like most Italian movies, they added in their own music that was performed by Goblin. So we'll talk more about that in particular, but when Zombie was released when Dawn of the Dead was released in Italy as Zombie, they decided to make sequels to it because there's very loose copyright rules in Italy. So they made Zombie 2, which is by Lucio Fulci, who's just like an Italian cinematic master of his craft.
Probably one of the best Italian.
Yes, he's my favorite, but he's definitely like in the top 5 for the horror genre. And he made his own movie, Zombie 2, that really has nothing to do with Dawn of the Dead, but it is its own thing, and it's a very good movie.
And then when released in the United States, it's just Zombie, so it's confusing.
So then there was a Zombie 3 that had Folsey involved.
But in reality is really kind of Zombie 2 in a way.
Yes, in some places 3, it's known as Zombie 2.
But then, like, it's so confusing in how they do it.
Yes.
I would recommend Cinemassacre has a chronologically confused. I don't know if it's a full episode or if it's just one that they put. It's part of one. Video. But it does a really good job of him saying, like, kind of bringing up all the issues.
Yeah, all the
and he doesn't even get into like how complicated Zombie gets, but it's a good way because it is confusing.
Yes, because there's like a core series of zombie movies that people just generally consider part of the zombie series. However, there's so many movies throughout the world released as a zombie sequel that it is too much to list right now. That's why I made it list.
Pages, front and back.
So that means in the future, if we get more seasons,
if we get picked up for a second season.
Hopefully we do get picked up for a second season. But if we do get picked up for a second season, we'll talk about the zombie movies and this whole confusing series.
Yeah, I would say like this one. For this one, it's Night of the Living Dead and like the Romero and then the kind of Return of the Living Dead series. That's what we're doing, right?
Yeah, kind of did.
So I guess the next one would be like some other random, maybe some movies that are like remakes or something, but I would say definitely if we do another season it would be Zombie.
Yeah, and we'll tackle probably the core Zombie series. There's like Zombie 2, 3, 4, and 5 are generally considered part of the series.
I said,
there's a lot
problem
more.
Is like you could be like, I want to see Zombie 2. That could mean so many different movies that it gets really confusing. So that's going to be one we'll tackle in the future. I just wanted you guys to be aware of it now. One or two people watching this, are you aware?
I hope you are now. So, and another thing that I thought was kind of important, so we know there's like a lot of remakes. Well, you know that now. There's a lot of remakes of Night of the Living Dead in particular. As we mentioned before, John Russo, who is either the writer or producer of Night of the Living Dead, he made like his own novel that would then spin off into Return of the Living Dead.
I didn't know that was a novel until he brought it up.
Yes,
so
well now you do know. Was that... in the future, he wanted to kind of like make his own series that he was in control of. So he took the original Night of the Living Dead, filmed new things for it, put in a new score, and released the 30th anniversary edition.
Have we watched that one?
I've seen it. I don't think you have. I have my thoughts of it that I will save probably till next year. But it is an interesting experiment. He then made a sequel to that called Children of the Living Dead, so that's kind of its own series that we probably tackle next year as well.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen those.
Yeah, there's a lot we haven't seen, but out of the main movies, we've seen pretty much all of them that we're going to talk about.
For this year's, yeah.
So yeah, that just kind of like summed up that. There's other like comic books and books that kind of factor into it.
The
Some
guy
video games
that plays
even.
the main zombie at the beginning of Night of the Living Dead, he made his own movie that's a sequel.
Yes.
That we won't get to this one, but I really want to get to it if we do it next year because
it's something.
It wasn't a good movie by any means.
No.
But it was kind of like if you just like zombies tearing people apart and that's all you want to see.
That's all you're gonna get.
No character development. That's your movie.
So there's a lot of movies we want to review. So this is going to be more, as we said before, more than just one season. But for now, we'll just stick with Romero and the Return of the Living Dead series.
Which are both solid series. Even their weakest, movies in those series are good.
And there are weak movies in the series, but
and I use good as like I enjoy watching them, not that they're good movies.
So we'll get to that as the year goes on. Like I said, we're going to tackle, counting this video, 12 videos this year, so one a month. So we're going to do Night of the Living Dead to start off the series in February.
What's going to be the last movie?
We'll probably do all of Romero's and then probably all of Return of the Living Dead. So we're ending the year strong with Return of the Living Dead, Rave to the Grave.
I've only seen that one once, so I don't remember much from it at all.
There might be a reason for that.
Yeah, probably.
But we'll get to that. So we'll see you guys next month talking about Night of the Living Dead and everything we have to talk about.
OG. Send more paramedics.